Hi everybody, thank you so much for coming. This is a vigil in honor of Sonya. We come together today as a community, most importantly to mourn the life of Sonya Massey, but also celebrate life and celebrate us as a community coming together to ensure that things like this at home does not result here. Because what we know about police brutality, what we know about violence, particularly when it comes to the police, whether it results in death, whether it results in emotional or physical trauma, it happens here in Rhode Island. And it is only a matter of time until something else happens here in Rhode Island that ultimately shakes our community to the core as well. And so we have to understand that moment. We have to sit in that uncomfortable position, knowing that we have a force that time in and time again inflicts violence upon our most marginalized community. Before I hand it off to our incredible speakers, I want to drop a quick fact, because I think it's relevant to the conversation that we have today, and it's also a point of action for us to come together. So 50% of people that are killed by police in this country, 50%, half, are folks that are neurodivergent. Our most vulnerable communities are most, shame, can we say it again? Say shame.
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 50%. So what happens when we face violence to our most marginalized communities? We have to come together as one to make sure that we protect each other. Because the people that are sworn to protect us have shown that they are doing the exact opposite. In fact, they are killing us. They are killing us.
Shame.
Shame. Shame.
Shame.
Shame.
Shame.
With that being said, it's really important today that we uplift individuals in our community that are not only doing incredible work, but are also laying the groundwork for change moving forward. Because as we sit here in this moment, as somber as it may be, there is a brighter day. There is a brighter day that we can move forward. There is a brighter day that all of us can come together as a community, regardless of your political affiliation. We must come together on the fact that there are individuals in this state that do not have our best interest in mind. And I believe that all of us collectively here today do have our own best interest in mind. We have an interest of keeping each other safe and healthy. And so how do we take those steps today is going to be some of those things that the speakers are going to be talking about. With that being said, I want to introduce to you the moderator for this event, Makora Lewis. Makora is a sophomore at Howard University. Can we hear a sophomore at Howard University from Makora? There we go. There we go. And not only is Makora at Howard University, but Makora also, when she spent time here full-time in Providence, was hugely influential in the Providence Student Union. So if you don't know the Providence Student Union, I recommend you checking them out as well. Thank you. So with that being said, Makora, take it away. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Okay. Wow. Okay, I'm trying not to get emotional here. So quickly introducing myself, my name is Makora Lewis. I'm a sociology major at the illustrious Howard University. I've done plenty of work here in Providence. When I was a high school student at the Met High School, I led the first Denim Day walkout here. That was definitely phenomenal. And yeah, so I'm gonna do my little spiel. So first I want to acknowledge everyone that came out here. I just want to say thank you. You guys could have been anywhere else, but you decided to be here today at the State House when it's raining. I appreciate you guys all. When this news of Sonya Massey came to me during social media, I was like, I want to do something. I'm tired. Breonna Taylor, Sandra Bland, this can't keep on happening. Us black women are keep on getting disrespected in the news, and I'm tired of it. We are all tired of it. Shame. Thank you. And I wanted to do something, and I knew exactly where to go. My people at BLMRI PAC, come on, BLMRI PAC. I want to thank y'all, because this honestly couldn't have been possible without y'all. I want to thank my mom. She's in the back right there supporting me. So as you all know, we lost an innocent soldier in the battle of police brutality and racial injustice. Her name was Sonya Massey. On July 6th, her life was taken in her own home from the hands of people that were supposed to protect and serve. Sonya Massey is not just another statistic. She was a mother, daughter, friend, and most of all, she was innocent. Like I said, when I heard the news of Sonya Massey, first few emotions I felt was sad, anger, and hopeless for our future towards transformative justice. But instead of just reposting on my social media, I wanted to do more. I wanted to bring people together in a time of hopelessness. I wanted to organize. I contacted my activist family, Riley, Harrison, Eugene, Isis, Diane, everyone over here. Thank you, the youth. I really want to thank the youth for this, because that in my support, this event have gained in the span of less than a week. The people that care and want to do something, and the people that gave me and the rest of Providence the best continue to advocate for our brothers and sisters, hope. So I don't want to speak too much, so today we have several speakers, students and people from this community that want to share their stories and words of solidarity and support for Sonya Massey's family. So to kick things off, I would love to bring the one and only Anya Oro. I'm so sorry, Anaya.
Hi, my name is Anaya. I'm a youth organizer with the Providence Student Union. Thank you all for being here tonight to commemorate and honor the life of Sonya Massey, cut too short by a man who represents the racism and ableism the system of policing in this country perpetuates and was founded on. The law enforcement's very own code of ethics reads, "As a law enforcement officer, my fundamental duty is to serve the community, to safeguard lives and property, to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against violence or disorder, and to respect the constitutional rights of all to liberty, equality, and justice." Yet we see time and time again the bias, bigotry, and prejudice that floods our law enforcement and is forced into our communities that lack privilege or power, which is exactly what causes these disgusting incidents we see time and time again, similar to that of what just took place the night of July 6th. It's crucial to acknowledge as well that the actions of Grayson were not just a failure of training. No amount of training could erase the pollusively exhibited, deeply ingrained prejudice he held in his heart. The black working class endures and has endured since the very beginning of American construction, from slavery to segregation to systemic racism to police brutality, the highest levels of oppression, and we see this in Sonya's lineage. Back in 1908, her descendant, William Donegan, say his name.
William Donegan.
Say his name.
William Donegan.
Thank you. Lynched during a massacre. He died in the same city and even the same hospital as Sonya. The lynching of Donegan was done 116 years ago, and 116 years later, that of Sonya was done by the same hands and allowed to occur by the cycles of generational trauma, allowed to repeat, by the ignorance and hatred prevalent in today's society. The black and brown community and its allies repeatedly have shown its readiness throughout all parts of history to resist systemic racism. In response, we have seen racist police forces being employed to target and control black communities. This racism benefits none other than the wealthy elite who exploit black workers through lower wages, poor working conditions, high interest rates, and the incarceration system for minor offenses.
Shame. Shame.
Shame. The system not only exploits their labor at minimal pay, but also uses racist policing to enforce these discriminatory laws and sustain generational cycles of oppression, ensuring the continued advantages for the wealthy and privileged. We need to attack these issues head-on in our communities. These inherent biases, once again, are systematic and deeply rooted, and it's not just about making sure our law enforcement is educated and well-equipped to be able to handle a wide variety of situations. It's about recognizing and confronting the systemic racism and ableism that allows and has historically allowed this vicious cycle of hatred and violence that has flooded into our police departments and communities for years to be perpetuated in the first place. I smile to know the vicious, cold-blooded killer who was able to murder a woman pleading for her life is going to be behind bars. But I fret to hear that this imbecile still has yet to take accountability for his actions with a plea of not guilty. How can you say you're not guilty when you shoot an innocent woman begging for her life 3 times in the head and deny her immediate aid? How can you? The repeated lack of accountability held during various incidents of police brutality and the dismissal of our voices shows a troubling pattern of protecting the powerful while neglecting those in need. This is a pattern we must actively fight against together, regardless of what color you are or what class you're a part of, because this is a humanity issue. We have again lost a beautiful soul, another person in our community, and how many more souls must the Grim Reapers in blue suits take away from our communities? In reflecting on Sonya's life, and the circumstances of her death, let us commit ourselves to a future where justice is truly served, where every life is valued and protected, and where we can all unite hand in hand and show our love for one another. Tonight, as we remember Sonya, we must also honor her memory by acknowledging her humanity and the vibrant life she led. Sonya was not just a victim of a cruel, extremely flawed system. She was an amazing woman, mother, friend, and daughter, and in the words of her son, she was a kind-hearted socialite, a ball of energy, and a damn good cook. Her legacy is not just in the tragedy of her death, but in the love and joy she brought into the lives of those around her. And I thank each and every one of you for being here to honor Sonya's memory and for standing together in the fight for a more equitable and just world. A world where every year we don't have to come together and talk about this again. A world where we don't have to be scared to call police officers to our own homes for help. Where we don't have to be scared to walk down streets with our hoodies on. Where we don't have to be scared every time there's a conducted traffic stop. Where we can all move freely and truly practice our rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, where we are all together, united as one, and we must do it in the name of Sonya and all those that come before her, and thank you all once again.
Thank you so much for those words. Can we get another hand? Please, another hand for that. Next, we have my ride or die, my day one, my PVD to Washington, D.C., American University sister, Eugene Bellany.
Hi y'all, thank you guys so much for coming out today. Like Makora said, my name is Eugene. I'm a sophomore at American University studying physics and engineering. And I'm a part of PSU forever and always, and yeah. This is a poem I have entitled Black Woman of Phoenix. There was a time in this country it was a sin to be black, when limp bodies dangled like bloated forbidden fruit, and coon was considered a pet name. Dear darling of mine, don't let them scare you. They are afraid of the rumble in your bones, the universe of brilliance spinning at the tips of your fingers when they say things like, "You're beautiful," for a black girl. You see, they are not just colorblind, ignorant, that it is not your skin cradling their white stars in the sky when they try to say you are just a slave's bastard child. You tell them, no, get it right. My ancestors carried your nation's root on our backs, with hands rich with soil from the promised land. Your skin descended from the survival of rape and scorched earth. From all that charred and burnt flesh, we grew flowers and the world anew. You tell them, you are no one's cattle. You are the one who survived. We are the ones who survived and carried on. Women, black women, who before suppressed now dress up, rising to a new horizon of power. This is their hour of devouring titles of the once entrusted boss men, entitled, "The illicit is flossin', visionary codes of color and cards required for recruitment, boldly labeled ownership, though, of course, the ship, not of his own sweat, effort, and blood-stained tears, is not of his own ship, friendship with hellship, simplified to hardships. Politically, our ship is equal, supposedly all super duper, but beyond dupe stupor and figurative politics sailed a slave ship once home to a stone cold bed where soft round hips and dark lips of red, the essence of a sister, lay still. Once home to decks of song, songless dance, where hard rock abs and firm stern hands of the brother form the exercise, whips and chains constrained the still, carried on still, with bruised hearts, mental scars, wounded will and broken skulls, raging souls, flesh, open, deformed through strong, deformed, but from the battered cracks oozed survival, and through survival came change, and formations of a Negro's birth, change, an installation of a Negro's worth, in time, over oceans, across eras, home away from home became home he needs alone, and an IOU from the owner who owned his own years before, but no matter. Times wasted with mindings of old and homey seas, reminded by America's evolution in Tiger's Wood that hard-working he'll one day earn this space to place his learned desires, a place with no room for women with skin illustrating moonless night, like his mother, the place where brighter, a taste acquired from the higher source is the climax of success, leaving black women stranded, severed in loneliness, abandonment, self-loathing, saltiness, building armors of attitude. That stench of ugly but shelter, hearts, devoted in pain, to mask private isolation, hidden, asking why, waiting, hating, why? Because there's no love for the slightly more than red bone, darkly painted copper tone, coffee tinted sun-kissed, creamy, smooth chocolate, Miss Loveless, deemed less admittedly, so by the just as shaded, unprized by their own men, even after the sacrifices of laying still, while being stolen from laying still, while giving birth to men strong like their fathers who remained absent through weakness, laying still. Upon tear-dampened pillows that, like a sponge, soaked up a lifetime's disappointment, but not anymore. For the fresh morning rays of dawn has lit a new truth upon cheeks and varying hues of brown, a soul-lifting realization, silencing cries from ancestors, slaved by crimes, fueled by hate, slayed by minds, fooled by ignorance, a shackle-freeing realization that outshines eyes forever, blinded by lines of black or white, by fears of coloring outside, covering honey, realize your value, unfit for entitlements, your freedom obtained from an unmatched love, your power from the heavens above. No doubt that the sun is rising, setting for your splendor while a poison-eyed world, quieted with awe, admires beauty's origin raw and true. Who is the ultimate woman? A black woman. Thank you.
Next on our list, we have a mother, community organizer, and activist from DARE, Miss Susan Cook.
I'm sorry, guys. I just listening to this young lady's poem really touched my spirit. I wanted to start off by calling out the names of these women that have suffered at the hands of violence at the hands of the police. And as I say their names, I'd like for you guys to call out their names. Kayla Moore. Rikia Boyd. Oh, I'm sorry. Gabriella Gabriela Navasquez. Chantel Davis. Melissa Williams. Sandra Bland. Kendra James. Shelley Frey. And lastly, I didn't really know what it was that I was going to say, but I am a mother. My son suffered at the hands of police brutality. 2013, March 5th, the day of my birthday. And from that day until this moment, every year, one right after another, people are dying at the hands of the people that are here supposed to serve us and protect us, and they're killing us. I struggle with that. This is the names in which that I've called off are in various different states systemically across our country. People are losing their lives, and this is not acceptable. I don't know what it's going to take to change. Yes, we're coming out now, but when the newness of this particular situation goes away, where are we going to be? Are we going to stand and continue to fight one week right after another? Or are we going to just sit around and continue to wait for the next one to happen? Every time I do this, I'm filled with emotion because it takes me back to not only just my child, but it could be your uncle, your sister, or your brother. And because it has not knocked at somebody else's door at that moment. I love you, Heath. Because it hasn't knocked at your door, doesn't mean that you shouldn't participate in what's going on within your community. This is not just the police brutality. Like right now, this is a system that is not designed for people of color. And they're taking us out one by one, family by family. I can go as far as like the homelessness rate, the work in which that I do, I was doing for free for a very long time. They're now doing criminalization of homelessness. They're incarcerating people just for not having a place to live. This is not acceptable. And just a few months ago, I became one of the people that I've been out here servicing for years. Can't get a home, can't get a good job. And all of these things are all intertwined into each other. Whether it's the police brutality, police abuse, the homelessness rate, the drug addiction, the guns, the murders, all of this is all interconnected and directly impacting people of my community, people that look like me. Enough is enough. So this is not even in a place in which that I'm not even thinking about our legislatures, because we keep begging them for coming here to beg these people for these things in which that should be so freely given. I'm asking all of you, tell a friend to tell a friend. I need you to close your eyes for a minute and think about if this was to happen to you. Have that visualization of having your mother, your son, your father, be it homelessness, drug addiction, murder, police brutality, all of that. Visualize it happening to you, and what would you do? We've got to make a change. We've got to come out more often. There's meetings, there's a lot of organizational people here, but we've got to get the people here that are directly impacted by the stuff in which that we're going through. With that, I'm going to hand over the mic, and thank you guys for hearing me. Protect our black women. Protect.
Powerful, powerful. Next, we have Michelle Ofakanzi from the Party of Socialism and
liberation.
Peace, everyone. My name is Michelle, and I'm an organizer with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. And I'm saddened to be out here to commemorate Sonya Massey, yet another one of our sisters who was murdered by police in her own home. It's true that some things have shifted since 2020. Things are changing because of our power, because of the power of the people. Before 30 million people marched to convict Derek Chauvin, the officer who murdered George Floyd, police officers are almost never indicted, let alone convicted. Even this officer would never have been charged with first-degree murder without the people of Illinois and the U.S. taken to the streets.
That's right.
Sorry. Our government is afraid of the power of the people, but tragically, that's exactly the same reason why they might convict a killer cop or two. But they keep pouring more and more funding into the police. The government and the wealthy are afraid of the power of the people, so they preemptively send police into our neighborhoods to arrest, assault, and assassinate us. Shame. In reality, it shouldn't just be this one cop on trial. It should be this whole entire police department. This cop, Deputy Sean Grayson, had been through 6 policing jobs in 4 years, had 2 DUIs, and the sheriff's department still hired him. So the mad dog made the kill, but who bought the dog? And how many cases of racist and fascist cops are there in every police department across the country? And while it might be true that not every cop is a killer cop, every cop is bound to uphold the same racist laws and practices. When it comes down to it, we see that they defend one another and the system defends them. The Law Enforcement Officers' Bill of Rights in Rhode Island makes it nearly impossible to get a cop fired, let alone prosecuted. Shame. This is the problem. Even if we convict one cop, they still act with impunity. 700 people have already been murdered by police this year, meaning we're on track to see the deadliest year of police murders since 2013. So it's clear that we need to uproot the whole system, because Democrats might call for police reforms, but Mayor Smiley wants more cops on the streets. And Kamala herself, also known as Cop Mala, is responsible for policies that have led to the mass incarceration of thousands of people. We cannot be fooled by the false choice between Kamala Harris and far-right dog whistler Trump. We have our own candidate, Claudia De La Cruz, who is calling to end the war on Black America. That's what we need. We don't need more police. We need mental health care, food, housing, education, jobs, in a country that is built for the people by us. And that means we have to build a movement that can fight for it. The memory of Sonya Massey and all our fallen siblings demands that we change the whole damn system. Indict, convict, send these killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Indict, convict, send these killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Indict, convict, send these killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Indict, convict, send these killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell.
Thank you again. Next, we have Lumna from the Palestinian Feminist Collective.
Good evening, y'all. I am really honored to be here with you all today in grief, in righteous rage, as we honor the life of Sonya Massey and the thousands of Black martyrs who have been killed at the hands of racist state police here in this country. Most of you know that I'm speaking to you today in the midst of the most tragic chapter in my people's history. Since October, 186,000 Palestinians have been slaughtered. And that slaughter only fuels mine and my community's passion to fight the genocidal regime that is governing land and life in my homeland, but to do it successfully means that we have to fight its genocidal sponsors. And since the very beginning, we have known that this state has been a genocidal state. Shame. At the start of the genocide in October, like many Palestinians, we felt rather alienated. This feeling that people couldn't understand what we were going through. Almost every Palestinian I know, including myself, knows someone who has been displaced or killed or imprisoned in our homeland. And almost all of us have experience where our ancestors have been killed, displaced, or imprisoned. And that intimacy of grief, having so many friends and family members that you forget to count, having so many ancestors in one bloodline, was something that I knew one community in particular could understand in this country, which is the Black community. And it was not a coincidence that it was Black America that was the first to stand with us in October. It is not a coincidence that it was Black America that has stood with us since decades ago, even when it invited repression upon their own liberation movement, even when it took a toll and a cost on their movement. Palestinians have always known that, and we pledge and devote ourselves to fighting against white supremacist, racist state violence in this country as well. The intimacy of the grief that I'm talking about is illuminated in so many of the stories and the connections between them, which some of our sisters talked about earlier. It's not a coincidence that George Floyd's girlfriend was the teacher of Dante Wright. It's not a coincidence that Iberia Hampton, the mother of Fred Hampton, was the babysitter of Emmett Till. That is not a coincidence. For generations, Black life has been rendered disposable in this country, from racial chattel slavery to the Jim and Jane Crow era, to the mass incarceration prison industrial complex and policing. And when we think about that turning point in the 1960s, that late 1960s, Black Power movement, anti-Vietnam War movement, Palestinian liberation movement that spanned the world, it's not a coincidence that the state reform their policies at the domestic and foreign policy level to crush resistance movements across the globe. So by 1969, when the Black Power movement had taken a position against the Vietnam War, against the Zionist occupation in Palestine, and continued to fervently agitate against the racist state here in this country, 26 Black Panther leaders were assassinated in 1 year. Shame. The last decade has told us more clearly that the fight for racial liberation, the fight for anti-imperialist liberation, the fight against Zionism is urgent, not because it was never complete, but because land and life is still quite literally on the line. It is not okay that every 72 hours, another Black person in this country is killed. It is not okay that this country manufactured the crime epidemic, that they expanded prisons and police at a time where statistically crime was on the decline, and then they went to go hunt Black and brown life to incarcerate them. That is not okay. We see through those lies. We see that this is systemically a part of the structure of white supremacist state violence. White supremacy is not discrimination between two people. It stems from the very top, from the ruling class and their corporate interests, and it's connected to their imperialist policies abroad that renders Palestinian life and Latino life and African life disposable. I want to close off by saying it's not just the structures of pain and subjugation and oppression that we share with you. It is also a long history of solidarity. And there's so much that has been said about how Black movements have stood with Palestinians, but Palestinians, we have stood with you all since the very beginning as well. We want you to know that we will affirm that over and over and over again. I want to read a short poem. This was a poem written by Samih al-Qasim, a Palestinian writer. It's called Enemy of the Sun. And it was found in the prison cell of the late martyr George Jackson, who was assassinated in 1971 in the San Quentin prison. I may, if you wish, lose my livelihood. I may sell my shirt and bed. I may work as a stone cutter, a street sweeper, a porter. I may clean your stores or rummage your garbage for food. I may lie down hungry, O enemy of the sun, but I shall not compromise, and to the last pulse in my veins I shall resist. You may take the last strip of my land, feed my youth to the prison cells. You may plunder my heritage. You may burn my books, my poems, or feed my flesh to the dogs. You may spread a web of terror on the roofs of my village, O enemy of the sun. But I shall not compromise, and to the last pulse in my veins, I shall resist. You may put out the light in my eyes. You may deprive me of my mother's kisses. You may curse my father, my people. You may distort my history. You may deprive my children of a smile and of life's necessities. You may fool my friends with a borrowed face. You may build walls of hatred around me. You may glue my eyes to humiliations, O enemy of the sun. But I shall not compromise, and to that last pulse in my veins, I shall resist, O enemy of the sun. The decorations are raised at the port. The ejaculations fill the air, a glow in the hearts and in the horizon, a sail in scene, challenging the wind and the depths. In the Ulysses, returning home from the sea of loss. It is the return of the son of my exiled loved ones, and for her sake and his, I swear, I shall not compromise. And to the last pulse in my veins, I shall resist, resist, and resist. And finally, I want to say, it's not just that Palestinians stand with the Black movement for liberation in this country. It's that we are indebted to you for consistently telling us that the fight and resistance and the perseverance to continue on generation after generation stems from our very own location here. And we thank you.
Next up, we have Isis Grafals from the Secretary of NEAC of the NAACP.
In order for us to break out of the cycle of these reoccurring events of police brutality, we must look into its foundations. The cause. Attending to the circumstances is not enough. It is our endeavors of confrontation and demands for justification for our lives being taken from us. It is at times like these we must hold on to one another to face the adversary. We work for the adversary, educated by the adversary, our lives structured by the adversary. We should be at the point of surpassing compromise. We can no longer fall into the phony empathy when we end up back here at the State House for another member of our community. This is a time for empowerment and self-education. A movement starts with you. A movement is not one individual that speaks out. It is when we collectively come together and become a unit fighting for a cause. It starts here locally, uplifting one another, becoming involved, breaking free from the society structured on racism and white supremacy. The principle needs to be in the leadership of the movement that are put forward to address the systemic and structure that lays in by the police force and within our country. All social transformation that has been achieved, such as civil rights movements, it was successful because those directly affected were in the leadership. Unfortunately, we only perceive these as narratives of one individual speaking out. But what they don't publicize is the local organizations that become a unit, regular everyday people that push to these changes we see today. It is the day-to-day infrastructure of the common man that has led to change. These are the people that we need to produce a massive demonstration with an agenda about power and building power to our people. Given the topic of police brutality, what I will leave is that many people have reduced the notions of racism into individual bigotry and made changes to people's morals. But when we look at the fight of civil rights movement, it was about building the power of community that has been directly impacted by racism and the white supremacy. The power to determine what our destiny is, the power to dedicate and dictate what our being educated that influences our lives. With the issue of police brutality, we must continue building the communal power in those that are attentive to social transformation, to become involved with our community. When we see the demonstration of protests, they culminate to building power. They culminate into public policy changes that can have long-term effects. Our history's successes derives from the perfect crossroad of community organized, engaging gatherings and sustainable institution. That has been the blueprint that has paved before us to look to further clarity and vision to further change. Thank you.
Next, we have Nabu from social entrepreneurial, started her own business at the age of 16. Yes.
I feel like I always have my bag on me. I'm sorry. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out. I'm Zainabu, and this is what I have to say. A great lie about being black and strong women is that we're black and strong women for everyone else. But the last time I checked, I was still lifting me up off the ground. But all the roosters kept crowing as if it ain't well past dawn. As if I ain't put the work already. As if I'm only qualified to fuck and feed billies and heal wounds and not break my back. We are mega beings fractured, still being told we don't add up, still being mathematicians and the math, still being scientists and the science, still being studied for the sorcery in our palms, still we snap back like our bodies haven't been dissected, or perhaps we're expected to snap back like our bodies haven't been dissected, whistled at, whispered about, dismantled, fetishized, told not to be parts of us that white America dismantles and fetishizes, as we are the ugly, the raped, the front cover, the front line, our children, the cover story when dead, the back story when living. We are the living, the ancestor, the magic, the nanny with the magic milk, the protector, the unprotected, all while they Cinderella our asses. And we still show up to the ball looking like yas. Outfits loud, dance move loud, hair loud. Glorious how the black woman turns into the loudest one in the room. That they try to silence us. How our armor in a world of take is to give. Or to say nah bruh, or to say our hair did, or to love, or to mean mug, or to cry, or to slit our wrists, and this is when we are the most quiet. And this is when we are the most like God, performing miracles while offering up our bodies. So when we choose to wash away blood in a bottle of liquor or on the bottom of the bath, I will still call you my sister. Each time she emerges from a dark space, I will still call you my sister. Whether she is able-bodied, queer, dark, light, articulate, young and turned, mother or daughter, I will still call her my sister. Sister Harriet Tubman, Marsha P. Johnson, Daisy Bates, Ella Baker, Coretta Scott, Betty Shabazz. Sister, thank you. Sister Serena Williams, Simone Biles, Angel Reese, Sha'Carri Richardson, thank you. Lauryn Hill, Sexy Red, Glorilla, Haley Bailey, thank you. Sister Breonna Taylor, Sandra Bland, and Sonya Massey, thank you, and I'm sorry. Black women of the world, thank you for being black and women and strong. Because you guided black girls who have been told to be smaller, quieter, and more submissive. To be us and to be us unapologetically. But black women, I'm sorry that you had to fight a war you never signed up for. I'm sorry you have to be strong because strength is something you build after being attacked so often. Black women, I ask you to use that strength for yourself. Take care of yourself. Take your love. Take your care, your femininity. Use it for yourself. Because imagine if this world breaks us down. The black woman, oh, how some would rejoice. As if the world wouldn't cave in on us. as if most of the living wouldn't forget how to be alive without us. Black women, look to your side and tell the woman next to you, I got you. Black woman, take out your phone, look at yourself in the camera and tell yourself, I got you. Black men, look to the woman next to you and tell her, you got her. White America, fuck it, I don't need you to get me, because I got me. That's it, thank you.
Next up, we have senior citizen, veteran, and community organizer for Pawtucket, Mr. Addison.
Good evening, brothers and sisters. My name is Richard Addison. I'm probably the oldest guy in here. I'm 83 years old. The reason why I'm dressed in black is because I'm in mourning. Mourning for a sister who got brutally murdered in her own home by a police officer who happened to have 6 different jobs before getting to Springfield, Illinois. 6 different positions in the course of 1 year. What does that tell you? This man was unqualified, released by other companies, other departments, but they were allowed to move on to go somewhere else. That should be criminalized. When you kill somebody in one city or you kill someone in another city, it's the same thing. Now, another reason why I got on black is because I'm thankful to my God that I'm still here. 83 years old, living in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, where I was born and raised. The only time I never slept in Rhode Island is when I was in the United States Marine Corps. I served my country to come home to find out that things don't change. To be free is not something that comes easy. You have to work and work and work. We have to unite, and fight. We'll take 2 steps forward and then we'll go 1 step backwards. Now I, at 83, was in my community room having a meeting where I was the president of the association. One of the young ladies did not like the questions I asked of the former president and the treasurer. Someone called the police. The police came in, and when they walked in, the police officer put his hand on my shoulder, and he said, "Come on, boy, I'm giving you 3 seconds to get up and get out of here." And I said, "What?" He said, "You heard me, 3 seconds to get up or you get out of here." I said, here's a piece of paper. I'm the president. He said, "I don't want to see that. I was told to remove you from this building." Well, at 83 years old, and a cancer survivor twice, I have neuropathy from chemotherapy and radiation. All that stuff has an effect on your body. I have the strength now of maybe a 14, maybe even 12-year-old boy. I do not have the strength or the desire to be physically fighting with anybody who is young, dumb, and has a gun and a badge. A gun and a badge. Why would I choose to fight him? Well, when he put his hand on me and pulled me up, my legs just run rubbery. What happened is I stumbled and I fell, and when I started to fall, I put my hands out, and they put my hand on his chest, and the other hand went on underneath his arm. Well, he just took it. well, I'll just take this guy and flip him over and slam him to the floor. And he did just that. He slammed me to the floor. In our building, anytime anyone stumbles and falls, what do you think's the first thing they say to the person? Lady, stay still, we're calling the rescue. We're calling the rescue. Because we know that when an 83-year-old person hits the floor, the chances of him being hurt or needing medical help would be the thing to do. Well, after he threw me to the floor, he decided to jump on my back and punch me in the face 3 or 4 times. The people in the room were saying, why are you punching the old man? Why are you punching the old man? He said, I'm trying to get him to turn over. Well, we had a police officer when I was laying down who was behind me on my legs and on my thigh. I couldn't roll over at all. But when they finally got me where they could roll me over and to get me up, my legs were still weak. They held me against the wall, let me stand there. And I'll tell you, we had a couple of policemen who come in. And you know where the word policeman started. They're not peace officers, they're police. They come in with the power of their establishment, their city, their state. They come with authority. They got a badge, they got a gun, they do what they please. I saw the black officer and I said, why couldn't you even help me? You're supposed to be your brother. And he looked at me, he said, no, you're not my brother. My brothers are the guys who are wearing this blue uniform. My brothers are the ones who were wearing this uniform. So they brought me over to the police car, and I said, what do we do now? He said, you're going to be arrested for assault, simple assault, disturbing the peace, and resisting arrest. Well, I got a lawyer, and my lawyer said to the city of Pawtucket, show me the videos. The gentleman who threw me down, who jumped on me, guess what? His body cam wasn't working. His body cam wasn't working. Doesn't that make sense? It's always the body cam wasn't working. How about the other officers who were there? Well, they weren't functioning either. So now they come up with a video in my community room where I'm sitting in front of the lady talking to her. Now I thank God I'm still alive. Because you know what? If he had tased me, I would have been dead. And of course, if he decided to shoot me, I would have been dead. And I feel blessed that the good Lord decided to control that man's mind where he didn't want to take my life. But now we're in court, and my lawyer says, stay away from the press, don't give any interviews, and I told him that's not what his job is. My job is to do what is right. My job is to speak up. My job is to speak up and tell the truth. You know, they say the truth will set you free. But see, we've been told as black people a lot of lies. And they don't mind lying to us. I often wondered if the Caucasian race is truly the superior race. Why do they have to have all these obstacles and traps and ways to hold us back? What is their need to do things that they do to us to slow us down? Segregated schools. I'm going to tell you, when they said we're going to take the black family because they're struggling, we're going to save them. We're going to have a thing called Mother's Aid, and we're going to support the black women with a minimum income. as long as she didn't have a black man in the house. Why wasn't the bill written that we were going to have a thing called Father's Aid, where we put the man in charge, let him support the family and get subsidies where he could control what's going on in his family? It's all the game. They know what they're doing. They know how to distract us from being successful. Now, when I joined the Marine Corps, when I came home, a lot of my high school classmates, white friends, and believe me, I was raised in Pawtucket my whole life. I have a lot of white people who are my friends, people that I can trust, that I can participate with on any type of event. But the city government and the city council have done nothing. I started a group in Pawtucket in 1973. It was called PUMA, People United for Minority Advancement. We were responsible for the first black man to be put on the police department. We got the first black policeman on in 1973. And in the same year, we got 2 black firemen put on the fire department. We represented about maybe 14% of the population, but there were no blacks in City Hall. All I want to tell you is, being black is one thing, but don't say, I'm a man. I am a man who happened to be black. That's what it is. I'm a man and happen to be black. They don't mind fighting about my gender, but they damn sure want to fight you for your race. Thank you very much, and God bless all of you.
Next up, we have Riley Shivers from BLM RI PAC, the secretary.
Thank you everyone for being here today, and thank you to my fellow speakers and activists. My name is Riley Shivers. I'm from BLM RI PAC, and I stand before you to honor and reflect on the tragic loss of Sonya Massey. Sonya Massey, a woman whose life was taken far too soon, lived with paranoid schizophrenia, a condition that deserved understanding and compassionate care, not to be met with violence. Her murder serves as a clear reminder of systematic failures that perpetrate such tragedies. It is critical to address the systematic disparities that influence these outcomes. For many of us in Black and Brown communities, we are conditioned from a young age to navigate interactions with law enforcement with heightened caution. We are taught to not make sudden movements, to keep our hands visible, and to comply with every instruction given by police. This is not merely precautionary advice, but a survival strategy in a world where our very presence can be misconstrued as a threat. We are raised under a heavy burden, knowing that our bodies, simply by existing, can be perceived as dangerous. Even though law enforcement officers undergo training, it is clear that their response to our communities often reveal a deep-seated fear and bias. It is tragic irony that while they are the ones armed and trained, the real threat perceived is not actual danger, but the mere presence of Black and Brown individuals. Our country in its current state is too often fueled by the exploitation and shedding of Black and Brown lives. The systematic inequalities that allow for such outcomes are rooted deeply in our history and our culture. This systematic violence is not just about individual acts of aggression, but about a broader societal framework that devalues Black and Brown lives. Additionally, it is important to recognize a significant portion of those killed by police, approximately half, have had a disability, further highlighting the needed understanding for appropriate care. Sonya Massey's murder is a stark example of these systematic issues. It underscores the urgent need for comprehensive reform within our law enforcement agencies. We must ensure that officers are trained not only in de-escalation techniques, but also in understanding and respecting humanity of every individual they encounter. Furthermore, we need to address the underlying societal biases and dehumanizing of Black and Brown bodies. It is imperative that we foster a culture of empathy, respect, and equality. By activating for systemic change, expanding mental health resources, holding those in power accountable, we can begin to dismantle the structures that cause such injustices. Sonya Massey's story is a call to action. It is a plea for the justice system that truly protects and serves all individuals equitably. Her memory demands that we confront these harsh realities and work towards a future where every life is valued. Every person is respected and no one is unjustly targeted or harmed. Let us honor Sonya Massey by committing ourselves to this cause, by demanding a society where our Black and brown communities are not just seen, but understood and respected. It is our collective responsibility to push for transformation, change, and that ensures justice for all. Lastly, we must protect Black women from a system made to harm us. Protect Black women. Protect Black women. Thank you.
And last but not least, we have youth activist from Pawtucket, Diane Holland.
Hello, everybody. Sonya Massey, a 39-year-old African-American woman, a mom, a daughter, a child of God. Sonya Massey's legacy reminds us that the struggle for equality is still ongoing. It requires each of us to stand up against prejudice and injustice, to champion diversity, demand, and accountability for reforms, and to ensure that every voice is heard and respected. How many more times do we have to say enough is enough? Let us honor her memory by continuing to strive for a world where equality is not just a dream, but reality for all of us. All of us have to come together as a community. In the words of the great Maya Angelou, you may shoot me down with your words. You may cut me open with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise.
Can we please give a hand to all of those speakers, please? Tonight was an emotional, powerful, hopeful, and inspiring event. I would thank the speakers, organizers that made my idea an impactful event. I'm not gonna cry. This is not the end of this battle. We need to bring more awareness to this issue of police brutality and systemic racism, especially right here at home. We are demanding more alternatives for police, such as community action teams demand that police are not going to continue to be or even think that they are above the law, and meaningful reforms to prevent future tragedies. I encourage you to stay, engage, and network with the family of support we have right here. Meet other organizations, get involved, and make a change in your community. I must emphasize the importance of standing together in solidarity to support Sonya Massey's family and each other. The main message I wanted to bring is hope and resilience in our community. We are strong, but we are way stronger when we are together. I want to urge all of you to participate in upcoming protests, community meetings, or other actions aimed to driving change. Please connect with your community organizers to provide information on how to get involved, make your voices heard, such as voting, contacting elected officials, letting them know what is up. Thank you everyone for coming and their continued support in the fight for justice. At this time, I'll need to leave a moment for silence for Sonya Massey. Sorry, let me say it again because I need to say her name again. At this time, I'll wait to leave a moment of silence for Sonya Massey's family and the victims that have been affected by police brutality. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.